So we're up in the workshop, we are playing with the Massey, and today we are going to make some wobbly things less wobbly. I.e. sod Laura, take a look at the one that doesn't wobble. Anyway, mudguards. So, I'm not sure whether we're going to be able to see this properly, but basically the issue is, get rid of all the crap off it. In here is bearings, and last time I washed it I noticed all bits of rust around here that suggested, well, I could actually see the bearings in there have gone. So I think there is going to be some marks taken out of this, so we're going to take the mudguard off the frame. We're going to try, hopefully this doesn't bite me in the arse, to take the mudguard bracket off the axle, get it on the workbench, strip it down and see what happens. Oh, this could end badly. Okay, so they've actually come off surprisingly easily. We all know trying to get these off, bolts can end up seizing them threaded holes in the axle and be an absolute nightmare. But nope, they've all come off fairly easily. So reason I've taken them off the tractor, point one, this one can't keep that bolt tight and it keeps rattling around, so we're actually going to just run a beader weld just in there, so they're going to be solid, get them all in the right place, and she'll be grand. Now, which is the one that I could see the bearings? One of these I could see the bearing poking out, and it was looking decidedly unhealthy. I think it was that one in there, but we'll find out when we get them all to bits. So, I didn't bring my camera mounts with me. That was helpful. So, right, we'll get this on the vise and show you what the general script is to pull these apart. So we've got this off. There is no easy way to get these off without muddling them. Basically, you just hammer a chisel in and try and pry them up. Does mean that you kind of do that to them, but we can knock that back and make it roundish again. So getting here, these bearings actually don't seem too bad, but they're cheap to do, so top bearings don't usually get a lot of grief. It's usually the bottom bearings that take the hammer because of them being in all the wet and the crap. But one modification I'm considering doing is drilling a hole in the end there and putting a grease nipple in, so I can periodically grease them. That will hopefully push the crap out of them and keep them clean a bit. So I was going to make, what's the name for these, a socket for these. I might still do actually, because I've got a drawer all full of varying sockets, and some of them are just crap. I want a bigger one, something like that maybe. I want a smaller one. Something in between that and that's just a rough old socket. See, I have got some actually quite good quality sockets in it, and I don't really want to go wrecking them. Right, let me find a socket and I'll show you what we're looking at. Okay, so we've had a bit of a miscalculation in measurements, but I'm hoping it will still do the job. Seems to fit relatively solid, so go grab me ratchet. Might need more than a ratchet. I remember the last one of these I did. We'll end up putting the impact wrench on it. Maybe wasn't the brightest move, but it kind of works. So, right, hang on. So we've got the bearings out. Like I said, the top bearing, you'd argue that's in very good order. I wouldn't argue with you. This bottom one, there's still life in it, but if you look down in there, you can see the ridges where the bearing's been sat. So it's starting to wear. Been quite lucky on this one by the looks of it. Clean off with a bit of cutting oil, any old oil, bit of WD-40, but as long as it's a light oil. And then scraping it round, scrape all the crap off. So you can see that's actually full of crap, but actually also in very good order. I was worried that I've seen them where they've sort of cut a groove in here and they've worn the shaft out, which the shaft, yeah, the shaft feels all right. So I would genuinely prefer to do them like this when they're just starting to get a bit of wear. The bearings are cheap enough, and it keeps it all in good order. So just give all that a bit of a clean up now. A little bit of a clean up in there, nothing major. And then this one can actually start going back together. I'm trying to figure out how to get that spring on. That should be fun. Right, so I've rigged something up so you can see what I'm up to. First stage we're going to do is get the new bearing races in. Now, it's not always possible, but I find one of the best ways is use the old bearing race to tap the new bearing race in. The only thing we're doing that, make sure you can get underneath it to tap it back out, and tap it so you've got the wide side tapping it in. So it's actually very easy with this because you've got like a lip. Of course, the other way is the big socket. That works well too. Making a right palaver of this. They'll fit. I think that might just work a bit better. Well, certainly a bit less worse. What's that one? That's a 38. Do we go up to a 40? That's 35. Question is, can I go up to a 40? Well, it's a 41. Bit tight. 34 smaller. What are you? 38 it looks like it's going to have to be. Just make sure I'm not marking the top of the bearing. And she's in. Now before we there's a few jobs to do before we put the bearings in. Number one being cleaning these races so that it's right. That's done. That's always keep bearings as basically if that comes in the pack, don't put that on the other bearing. It's just good practice to keep them paired. Never, it's alright being very gentle tapping it in, but don't ever really hit a bearing race because they're a hardened steel. You can risk chipping them. So that's them both in. Grease. This is the bit I love. So something that usually gets overlooked. I always try and use, I mean, we're on the, you can guess what that is, but I do think it is better to spend the extra and get the better quality greases. Cheap greases, they're cheap. So just give the bearings a good coat of grease, really push it in there. Because you can see that part of the bearing, you want to be looking, make sure that's got a good bit of grease in between them bearings. It's not a very nice job, but I've seen people just smear it on the outside and think that's good enough. You need to get it into the bearing. It's not quite so bad only being little bearings, but we'll just prolong the life of the bearing. Say these aren't quite so bad because they don't actually move that much. Okay, that can actually go onto the spindle now. Let's get a bit of grease into the other one. Really get it in there. So you can actually buy things that basically just put it in this tool and pump the grease into it. I do think it would actually be the best way to do it. I mean, it's always going to be a messy, horrible job. Nearly dropped on the floor. That would have been a disaster. Trying to keep everything clean. Right, that needs going somewhere clean. I'll have to sit on there for the moment. Right. Give all this a clean out. Now we can start building back up. Put that over there where it's clean. That spring. That spring a bit of most of the crap off it. Like that way. Oh, I see. And then I've got to try and get it back onto there. Right. So that needs coming off really. So see the little pin there? You've got a locking bolt and an Allen key. So what I'm going to have to do is try and get that back. Just whoa! We've got a theory. We might just be able to get that back in. I'm going to have to be quick on getting the bearing back into it as well, and the nut back onto it. Might be better. Oh, fire. So that's the first one done. All back together. It was a bit of a fight to get that back in. Cap back on. We have straightened out a little bit. It's not perfect, but we've also installed a grease nipple in there. So hopefully we can get grease down into that bottom bearing and also push the crap out so it'll have a longer service life. Shouldn't need to do it as long as I've owned the tractor. And we've also, that nut, I've just never been able to get it tight. Always loosens up. Mudguard starts flapping around, annoying me. So, runner weld on the front, runner weld on the back. It is sort of welding onto cast, so it is a bit sort of funny stuff, but welding it back in front, hopefully it should hold it now. At the very least, we've got like stops to stop it wiggling around too much. So this one's ready for reinstallation back on the tractor, and then we've got the other one to pull apart. So ready for installation now. You can see, clean the top of the axle off, bit of copper grease in all 4 holes. We've also copper greased all 4 bolts and all 4 of the bushes that step it up. So because I'm an idiot and forgot my camera mounts, you're just going to have to trust me when I say I've done it. Okay, I thought I'd record this one because I'm assuming this is the one everyone loves to see. It might end up in need of parts. That nut doesn't look very healthy and has been a nightmare to get off. I have a nasty feeling the bottom bearing won't be in a good state because that was in the vise. Well, that's our top bearing, which looks rather unpretty, and that's our bottom bearing. Looks like the top bearing might have been turning on. Yeah, top bearing's been turning on the shaft. So that shaft is, well, hang on. Where's my cleaning crap? Right. So we see the clearly now on this. Although the threads don't look too bad at the very end, just focus on it. Now we go to that one. Right, so we can see there a bit of damage on the end of the what's name. That's what's caused it to pick up. That means that nut is screwed. That bearing has actually totally screwed. Spring's all right. What I was worried about, there's a few marks on the plate, but I think that's acceptable. That's just grimy manky's hell. So this is going to be as far as we can go with this really for the moment. I'm going to need, I think we're just going to replace that. We've got the bearings, they're not a problem. They're ready to go in. New nut as well. I've got it in this state. I might as well go the whole log and put it right. Right, so we are in the van. We are ready for home time because, well, let's face it, there ain't a lot we're going to do without that on that side, without some parts. Kind of annoying, but I'm not surprised. You know, I'd seen there were issues, a little while ago, hence the reason we've got the parts, trying to get the job done. But it's all stems down to that big lump there. There's a bit of a wear on the top swiveling piece, but I think I can weld that back up and grind it back down and get that right. The bottom plate, a few marks in it, again, nothing I can't sort with a welder, but that nut is buggered, the threads ain't good on that, and you can see the marks there where the bearing's been chewing into it. So that will become a lovely paperweight at some point. So shame can't get it all done, but you know, might as well call this a video, and then at least you get something to watch for the weekend. That's as far as we're going with that, I'm afraid. One's on, or one's not. But the beauty is, this time of year, she's not going anywhere. It's not the biggest end of the world. So we're going to call that a video. Don't forget to give it a grubby thumbs up. And yes, my hands are a disgrace and my thumb is grubby. Have a look at the shop if you'd like any merchandise. If you do enjoy these videos, don't forget to go and hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell. That way you'll see when I put videos up, because they are a bit random at the moment. We will get back into a normal routine, he says. So that'll do it. We are done. Don't forget to look after yourselves. Don't forget to look after each other, and we will see you on the next one. Yeah, we've got a few interesting bits. Yeah, that's it. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. We'll see you on the next one.